You know, life will test you, people will test you, but let me tell you a secret. True character, it's not revealed in success, it's revealed in struggle. So how do you know who someone really is? You don't need to analyze their past or dig through their resume. Just watch, yes, literally. An acronym I live by, WATCH. W, words. Listen closely to what people say, not when they're calm and collected. Listen when they're angry, when they're afraid, when they think no one's watching. That's where truth slips through. A, actions. Words can lie, actions never do. Who they are when it's inconvenient, when no one is applauding, is who they really are. T, time. Where do they spend it? Who do they give it to? Time is the most honest investment. You can't fake where your heart is. C, choices, especially under pressure. Crisis doesn't build character, it reveals it. Every choice someone makes is a breadcrumb leading you to their truth. H, how they treat others, not just you, not just the powerful. Watch how they treat waiters, janitors, drivers, those who can't offer them anything. That's the real mirror. And now let's talk about hard times, because that's when your character is tested. And darling, I've been through fire too. Here's how you get through the hardest days. Underscore, words are powerful. They build, they break, they reveal. But the thing most people miss, it's not what someone says when everything is easy and going their way. It's what spills out of their mouth when they're under pressure, when they're angry, when they're tired or afraid. That's when the mask slips. That's when you catch a glimpse of who they really are. You see, anyone can speak beautifully when there's a camera on, when the world is watching, but it's when no one is looking that their words become windows. I've learned to stop listening to the rehearsed lines, the I care, the I support you, the I'll always be there, and instead I lean into the in-between moments, the offhand comment, the sarcastic remark. The way someone speaks to a person they think is beneath them, that's where truth hides. Language is not just communication, it's a mirror of someone's mind and heart. How someone speaks about others, especially people who aren't in the room, says more than their Instagram captions or interviews ever will. Gossip, cruelty, constant negativity, that doesn't come from confidence, it comes from insecurity dressed up in attitude. And when someone uses their words as weapons, even subtly, even just joking, you need to listen louder. And let's not forget how someone speaks to you. Are their words uplifting or transactional? Do they empower you, challenge you, or diminish you? Because the person who truly respects you will never make you feel small with their words, even when they're upset, even when you've disappointed them, especially then. So I watch words like I watch body language, not just what is said, but how it's said, the tone, the timing, the energy behind it. People don't always tell you who they are with intention, but they always reveal it. You just have to stop romanticizing the potential of what you want to hear and actually hear what they're saying. Silence is also part of the conversation. If someone stays silent when it matters, when injustice is loud, when cruelty is in front of them, that too is a sentence. And it speaks volumes. Words are a map. They take you straight to the soul. You just have to pay attention. People can say all the right things. They can script their words, edit their captions, rehearse their performances. But actions are raw. They don't lie, they don't perform, and they don't need validation. Actions reveal who a person really is, consistently, quietly, and sometimes unintentionally. I've learned often the hard way that you can fall in love with someone's potential, with their words, with their vision of themselves. But the truth is always in what they do. What someone prioritizes, what they choose in small moments when no one's watching, that is their character. You know, someone says they care, they say they'll be there. But are they? When it's inconvenient, when you're not shining, when you're not useful to them, do they show up or do they disappear? Actions are never loud. They don't seek praise. They're not about grand gestures. Sometimes it's the quiet, consistent things, checking in when you're low, remembering the details you didn't even realize you said out loud, making space for your dreams even when they don't benefit from them. And when things go wrong, because they always do, how does that person respond? Do they take responsibility or look for someone to blame? Do they fold under pressure or rise to meet it? In chaos, people show you the truth of their spirit. The ones who act with integrity even when there's no reward, those are the ones you keep close. And this doesn't just apply to relationships. It's in every arena of life. Professionally, socially, in activism, in friendship. Watch who puts in the work, not just who posts about it. Who acts with empathy, not just who talks about kindness. Because the person who is kind in silence is worth more than the one who performs compassion for applause. Even the way people treat time reveals something. Do they make excuses or make effort? Do they act on their promises or leave them as empty declarations? When someone says they'll do something, follow what they do next. The gap between intention and action is where truth lives. And yes, actions can hurt. Because when you believe in someone's words and then their actions don't align, it shakes you, it can break you a little. But let it wake you instead. Let it teach you to stop filling in the gaps with hope and to start honoring the evidence in front of you. People show you who they are every day, not through what they promise, but through what they practice. Consistency matters, effort matters, and most of all, alignment matters. When someone's actions match their words, that's integrity. When they don't, that's your clarity. Time is the one thing we all get equally. 24 hours, no matter who you are, where you were born, what status you hold, time doesn't discriminate. And yet how we choose to spend it is one of the most honest reflections of who we are, what we value, and who truly matters to us. You want to know someone's priorities? Don't ask them, just watch where their time goes. Words are easy, time is expensive. People will always find time for what they genuinely care about. No one is too busy for something or someone that matters deeply to them. It's never about having the time, it's about making the time. That's what I've learned. If someone consistently puts work before love, distraction before connection, ego before empathy, you don't need a speech from them to understand what role you play in their life. Their schedule already told you, their availability, their presence, their attention, it speaks louder than any "I miss you" or "you're important to me" ever could. And it's not just about time with people, it's about how someone spends their time in life. Do they invest in growth, in learning, in becoming better, not just richer or more famous or more successful, but actually better? Because people who respect time don't waste it on mindless cycles, they use it to become. They understand that time is a currency, and how they spend it today will define who they are tomorrow. I've also seen people chase distractions, filling their calendars to avoid facing themselves. They say they're busy, but what they really are is unsettled, running from stillness, from silence, because deep down they're afraid of what they'll hear if they stop moving. But time doesn't pause for you to figure it out. It flows regardless of whether you're drifting or directing it. And the most revealing part, in moments of crisis when everything falls apart, how someone spends their time will either bring people together or push them away. Some will prioritize only their comfort. Others will show up for people they love. Some will disappear completely, thinking distance is safer than presence. But the brave ones, they lean in. They make time even when they have none, because love is proven in effort, not in explanation. So watch closely. If they say you're important but never have time for you, believe the time, not the words. If they claim to value growth, but spend every free hour numbing themselves, believe the pattern, not the potential. Time never lies. It doesn't need to. It just reveals. Day by day, minute by minute, without apology. In the end, people give time to what they love. Everything else is just noise. Choices are sacred. They are the purest form of truth in a person's life. More than dreams, more than declarations, even more than talent, choices shape destiny. Every day, in every situation, big or small, people are making choices. And if you want to truly understand who someone is, stop listening to what they say about themselves. Start paying attention to the choices they make, especially when no one is watching and nothing is guaranteed. Because choices under pressure, in moments of fear or chaos, those are the most honest ones. That's where character is revealed, not created. You learn more about a person in 5 minutes of their reaction to adversity than you will in 5 years of hearing them talk about their values. Anyone can stand tall when life is kind, but who are they when things are unfair, when they're tired, when they're scared? What do they choose then? Integrity or convenience, compassion or self-preservation, truth or image? It's not about perfection. We all make mistakes, but patterns matter. Repeated choices reflect core values, and what someone consistently chooses is what they truly believe in, no matter what they claim. If they keep choosing silence when they should speak up, if they keep choosing themselves over the people they claim to love, if they choose status over substance, you don't need more proof. You just need to stop ignoring the message. Look at the little things too, who they choose to listen to, what they choose to fight for, how they spend their energy, what they sacrifice for their goals. Every one of those decisions tells a story about their character. Are they choosing growth or staying comfortably stagnant? Are they choosing empathy even when it's inconvenient? Are they choosing to heal instead of harm, even when revenge might feel easier? The truth is, life doesn't hand out easy decisions. There will always be moments that test our boundaries, our values, our relationships, but the people who are grounded in who they are, they choose with clarity, and even when they stumble, they own it. That too is a choice, owning your mistakes instead of blaming others, choosing accountability over ego, choosing repair over pride. And sometimes the hardest choice is to let go of people, of past versions of yourself, of things that once felt safe but are now holding you back. That's the mark of true strength, because it's easy to cling, it's hard to evolve, but the person who chooses growth, who chooses to step into the fire and still hold on to their integrity, that's someone who will build a life worth trusting. So no, I don't listen much to explanations anymore. I watch for decisions, because that's where you find someone's truth, not in their voice but in their patterns. Choices don't shout, they whisper. But if you're paying attention, they say everything. One of the most revealing things about a person is how they treat people who can do absolutely nothing for them. Not their boss, not their idol, not someone they're trying to impress. I'm talking about the people often overlooked, the waiter, the driver, the receptionist, the cleaning staff, the assistant, the stranger on the street. Because kindness that comes with no benefit attached is the purest kind. It's not performative, it's not rehearsed, it's real. It's easy to be kind when there's something to gain. We've all seen it, the smiles in front of cameras, the polite small talk when there's an audience, the warmth that turns cold the moment power shifts or applause fades. But if you really want to understand who someone is, watch how they treat others in quiet moments, how they speak to someone who's serving them, how they respond to someone who's struggling, how they act when no one is there to praise or reward them. It's in these moments that ego either shows up or doesn't. The people who see themselves above others will always reveal it, not just in what they say but in what they ignore. They'll interrupt. They'll dismiss, they'll overlook someone simply because they think that person holds no value to their journey. But what they don't realize is that is the test. Character is not built on how high you climb, but how grounded you stay while climbing. And there's a humility that comes from treating others with dignity, not from pity, not from superiority, but from recognition, seeing someone fully, looking them in the eye, saying thank you and meaning it, not rushing, not brushing past, not acting like the world revolves around them. The truly grounded ones, the ones who have walked through fire and still held on to their softness, those are the ones who treat everyone with humanity, not just the select few who can open doors for them. It also goes deeper. How do they treat the people they say they love? In conflict, do they resort to cruelty? Do they weaponize silence or guilt? Do they use someone's vulnerability against them? Because how someone treats you in your most tender moments matters more than how they celebrate you when you're on top of the world. Real love, real friendship, real character, it shows up in patience, in compassion, in listening, even when it's hard, in standing by someone even when it's not convenient. And when someone is angry, really angry, that's when you see everything clearly, because anger is honest. It strips the mask. If in that moment they lash out with disrespect, belittle you, or make you feel small, remember that, because how someone treats you when they're hurt is how they really see you. And if someone can't hold on to respect, even in pain, that's not love, that's control. So I pay attention to the tone, to the eye contact, to how they make someone feel when that person is at their most invisible, because everyone has charm. Everyone can dress up their personality when it serves them, but kindness when there's nothing to gain, respect when no one is watching, that's who they are. People may forget what you say, they may even forget what you do, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And those who walk through the world making others feel seen, safe, respected, that's the energy you hold on to. That's the kind of person who lifts the room without needing to take up all the space in it. Hard times will come, no one escapes them, not the privileged, not the powerful, not even the ones who look like they have it all figured out. Life doesn't come with immunity, it comes with lessons. And when the world starts to feel heavy, when everything you've built begins to crack, when even breathing feels like a chore, that's when you meet yourself, not the version you've performed, not the one others expect, but the raw, stripped down you. And in that moment when everything else feels uncertain, the only thing you can and must hold on to is purpose. Purpose is not a job title, it's not fame, it's not about who claps for you or who leaves. It's the why that lives deep in your bones. It's the reason you get back up after being knocked down. It's the quiet knowing that your life has meaning, even when the metrics of success disappear, and when everything else falls away. Money, titles, attention, relationships. Purpose is the one thing that cannot be taken from you, unless you let it go. I've had moments where I've stood in the middle of chaos, not knowing how to move forward. Days where I felt like nothing made sense anymore. Nights where doubt crept in so loud, I could barely hear my own voice. And yet, in the middle of all that noise, what kept me standing wasn't certainty, it was purpose. The belief that I was meant for something, the unshakable pull toward something bigger than the pain. Purpose doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it's just a feeling, a small flicker in your chest telling you, don't quit, not now. It's that memory of why you started, the dream that hasn't left you, the people you promised you'd show up for, even if one of those people is your younger self, who fought like hell just to get here. When life breaks you open, purpose puts the pieces back together, not perfectly, but intentionally. It reminds you that pain is part of the process, not the end of the story, that what you're going through isn't punishment. It's preparation for something greater, for something that your soul already knows, even if your mind hasn't caught up yet. And here's the thing, holding on to purpose doesn't mean you won't fall. It means when you do, you'll know why you need to rise. It doesn't remove the weight, but it gives the weight meaning, and that changes everything. Because when you're anchored in purpose, you stop asking, why me, and start asking, what now? You stop looking for escape, and start looking for alignment. So even when you're tired, when you've been disappointed, when the world feels cold and unkind. Return to that purpose, write it down, speak it aloud, let it be the ground beneath your feet. Let it carry you until you're strong enough to carry yourself again, because no storm lasts forever, but purpose does. Peace is underrated, until you lose it, until your heart starts racing every time the phone rings, until you're surrounded by people, yet feel completely alone, until the noise in your mind becomes louder than the world outside. That's when you realize, peace is not a luxury, it's a necessity, and protecting it is not selfish, it's survival. There was a time I thought I had to say yes to everything, be available, be likable, show up for everyone, even if it meant disappearing from myself. I thought being strong meant enduring chaos, absorbing pain, carrying burdens that weren't even mine. But strength isn't in how much you can carry, it's in how fiercely you protect what keeps you whole. And nothing is more sacred than your peace. Peace isn't just silence, it's alignment. It's waking up and not feeling dread in your chest. It's being able to sit with yourself and not run from your own thoughts. It's knowing who you are and refusing to let the world shake that. And to protect that kind of peace, you have to make hard decisions. You have to walk away from what's loud but empty, from conversations that leave you drained, from relationships that thrive on drama and confusion. You don't owe anyone access to you at the cost of your own well-being. Let that sink in. You can love someone and still need distance. You can forgive someone and still not invite them back in. Protecting your peace means knowing your limits and respecting them. It means creating boundaries not to keep people out but to keep your energy intact. Sometimes the people who disrupt your peace the most are the ones closest to you, the ones you've justified over and over hoping they'd change. But if someone constantly brings you stress, manipulates your emotions, or makes you question your worth, you have a right to choose peace over their comfort. You're not cold, you're not heartless, you're healing, you're choosing clarity over chaos. And peace isn't just about people, it's about what you consume, the conversations you entertain, the environments you remain in out of habit, the stories you tell yourself. Protecting your peace means being mindful of what you feed your mind and soul, because energy is contagious, and if you're not careful, someone else's storm can become your weather. So find the things that restore you: nature, music, solitude, prayer, art, laughter, movement. Protect them like they're sacred, because they are. And remember, the world will try to convince you that hustle matters more than harmony, that being constantly available is a virtue, that chaos is normal. Don't believe it. Choose peace anyway, even if it makes you seem distant, even if it means being misunderstood. Because the truth is, when you protect your peace, you don't just save yourself, you become someone who moves with purpose, who loves without desperation, who creates from a place of wholeness. And in a world that profits off your anxiety, your calm is an act of rebellion. In a world that rewards appearances, staying close to what's real is a quiet act of courage. Because everywhere you look, there's a version of life being polished, filtered, and sold back to us. People posting smiles while breaking inside, perfection being painted over pain. We've become so used to the highlight reel, we sometimes forget that life isn't meant to be curated. It's meant to be lived. And real life, it's messy, raw, unpredictable, but it's true, and that truth is where the beauty lies. Staying close to what's real means choosing substance over spectacle. It's about grounding yourself in things that don't shift with trends or public opinion. It's the people who know your silence as well as your laughter. It's the memories that weren't posted, but stayed with you. It's the quiet strength of knowing who you are when no one's watching, when you can look at your reflection, not your profile picture, and feel at peace with what you see. There was a time when I believed that success had to look a certain way, that happiness was found in the applause, in the approval, in being everything to everyone.
But realness taught me otherwise. It taught me that the truest things in life aren't loud. They don't demand attention. They're felt, not flaunted, like trust, like loyalty, like love that doesn't ask you to shrink, like dreams that don't need to be broadcasted to be valid. Staying close to what's real also means being honest with others, yes, but first with yourself. It means acknowledging when you're not okay, admitting when something isn't working, telling the truth, even when it's inconvenient, even when it costs you. Because the moment you start living for appearances, you start losing yourself in the performance, and that's a dangerous place to be, when your worth becomes tied to perception, not reality. The real things, they nourish you, they don't exhaust you, they don't make you question your value every day, they don't require you to pretend. The friendships where you can speak your mind without rehearsing, the love that feels like freedom, not a performance, the passions that light your soul, not just your image, that's the real. And once you find it, protect it like your life depends on it, because in a way it does. And here's the truth most won't say out loud: not everyone wants real. Some people are addicted to the illusion, to the high of attention, to the validation that fades faster than it comes. But you have a choice. You can walk away from the noise. You can stay rooted in your values. You can surround yourself with people who see you, not just what you offer. You can live a life that doesn't have to be explained, because it's felt. Stay close to what is real. It will ground you when everything else spins. It will humble you when you fly too high, and hold you when you fall too far. And most importantly, it will remind you that you are already enough, without the mask, without the performance, without the applause. Life is not meant to be controlled, it's meant to be faced. And the truth is, we don't get to choose what happens to us. We don't get to avoid heartbreak, loss, betrayal, failure. We don't get to edit out the mess, but we do get to choose how we respond. We get to decide whether we resist what is or rise with what's left. And in that moment of decision, resilience is born. Resistance is what happens when we cling, when we fight reality with denial, when we spend all our energy trying to rewrite the past or avoid the discomfort of now. It's that voice inside that says, this shouldn't be happening, but it is. And the more we resist, the more we suffer. The pain doesn't lessen, it multiplies, because we're not just hurting, we're exhausting ourselves fighting the truth of what already is. Resilience, on the other hand, is not about pretending it doesn't hurt. It's not toxic positivity. It's not smiling through the pain. It's staring at what broke you and saying, okay, now what? It's about absorbing the hit, taking the time you need to feel it fully, and then standing up, not because it doesn't hurt anymore, but because you're stronger than the hurt. Resilience is about transformation. It's what allows you to use the weight that tried to bury you as the force that strengthens you. There's a difference between being tough and being resilient. Toughness puts on armor. It hides the wounds, suppresses the emotion, pretends everything's fine. But resilience lets the pain pass through you, not stay stuck in you. It allows for softness in the middle of strength. It knows that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's clarity. And from that clarity, you rebuild. Resilient people don't bounce back to who they were. They grow into someone they've never been. And it's not linear, it's messy. Some days you move forward, some days you fall apart. But resilience means you return, again and again. You come back to the fight, not to resist what life brings, but to learn how to move with it, to use it, to let it shape you, not shatter you. And here's what no one tells you. Resilience doesn't always look heroic. Sometimes it's getting out of bed when you don't want to, returning a call when your heart is still broken, showing up for yourself when no one else does. It's quiet, it's steady, but it's unbreakable. So let life change you. Let the losses humble you. Let the lessons carve wisdom into your bones. But don't resist it. Don't fight the tide. Become the storm that survives the wreckage, because resistance might delay the fall, but resilience guarantees the rise. There is a quiet strength that comes with being true to yourself, not the version of yourself that fits neatly into the boxes others have built for you, not the person you pretend to be to avoid rejection, or to be accepted in spaces that never really saw you in the first place, but the real you, the version of yourself that's unfiltered, unapologetically honest, and entirely free. And staying true to that authenticity is one of the hardest yet most important things you'll ever do. I've learned that the world often rewards conformity more than it does originality. It rewards the person who knows the right things to say, who fits into the narrative, who wears the mask that others expect. But the truth is, as much as you might bend to please others, as much as you try to make yourself small or mold yourself into something you think people will approve of, there will always be a part of you that is restless, a part that feels like it's suffocating under the weight of what you think you should be, rather than what you actually are. To stay true to yourself, you must first be willing to be seen, to not hide behind the expectations of others, but to show up fully, even when you know not everyone will understand. There will always be those who will criticize your choices, question your path, or tell you that you don't belong in the spaces you've carved out for yourself. But what I've realized is this: those voices will fade when you learn to drown them out with the strength of your own voice. Being authentic means having the courage to stand alone when necessary. It means walking away from people, environments, or situations that force you to become someone you're not. It means rejecting the pull of comparison, and instead embracing what makes you unique. It's not about being perfect or always having it all together. It's about accepting every part of you, the flaws, the scars, the successes, the failures, and standing in your own truth with confidence. It's so easy to get distracted by the noise. We live in a world where everyone has an opinion about who you should be, what you should do, how you should look. Social media is full of curated lives, edited images, and filtered thoughts that make us feel like we're falling short of some unattainable ideal. But the truth is, no one else can define your worth but you. No one else can tell you how to live your life, or what success means, or what happiness is supposed to look like.